Hi students, welcome back to Appleby Academy's classes. So in this video, we are going to discuss a very important topic under the module of financial management, and this is about dividend theories. Okay, so when you're just considering the previous year questions, you can see that most of the time they are actually asking question from this particular topic, dividend theories. It can be either a problem related question or it can be also a theory related question. So this particular topic is very important for a NET exam. Okay, so today we will discuss about a very important approach in dividend theory, that is Walter's approach, which is a theory of relevance. Okay, so before getting into this particular theory, Walter's approach, you should know what do you mean by this dividend theory. So the dividend theory is actually explaining the relevance or whether the decision regarding to dividend is relevant or not with regards to the value of the firm. Okay, so the different approaches will give you the different results, or they will have separate assumptions based on this. And a very important thing is that when you're dealing with a particular theory, it is important that you should be thorough with the assumptions related to that. Okay, so when you're considering the previous year question, you can see that they are just asking you to identify the assumptions related to a particular approach. I'm not just specifying about this dividend theory. From capital structure theory also, for this current exam, they also got asked about identifying the assumptions, like a way that you need to arrange them, like it is a combination of questions, like you need to take a number of assumptions from the given statement. Okay, so when you're studying a particular theory, it is very important that you should study the assumptions related to that. Okay, so when you're coming to this particular topic, dividend theories, the dividend theory is actually speaking about the importance or whether the decision regarding to dividend is going to affect the value of the firm or going to make any change in the value of the firm. So see, the dividend decision of the firm is one of the crucial important for financial manager, as we know that dividend decision is one of the important executive function. That means it should be performed by the executives of the company. Okay, so while taking the decision will take into account the effect of decision that maximizes the shareholders' wealth. So when you're taking a decision regarding to dividend, it is going to, whether it is going to affect the shareholders' wealth. That means whether it is going to make any changes in the market price of share. Such a thing should be considered before making a decision regarding to dividend decision. So simply you can say that you are making a decision that how much you should provide dividend for your shareholders, or whether you need to retain your profit. Such a decision is actually concerned with dividend decision. So when you are making a classification related to dividend theories, you can classify it into two parts mainly. One is the theory of relevance, and another one is the theory of irrelevance. Okay, the theory of irrelevance and the theory of relevance. So the first category is the theory of irrelevance. So irrelevance include two approaches, that is residual approach and Modigliani-Miller approach. So irrelevance approach is actually saying that when you're taking a decision related to dividend decision, that is not going to make any change in the value of the firm, or that is not going to affect the shareholders' wealth in any way. Okay, so the dividend decision is irrelevant for the company, or it is not going to make any changes. That's why it is considered as theory of irrelevance. Okay, and it includes residual approach and approach or Modigliani-Miller approach. And when you're coming to the theory of relevance, what do you mean by the theory of relevance? That means if you're taking a decision with regards to dividend, it is going to affect the value of the firm, or it is going to make some changes in the wealth of shareholders. So the decision is very important. Okay, so based on the theory of relevance, we have two categories, Walter's approach and Gordon approach. Both these approaches are very important. You should study what does this approach explains about this dividend decision, and also assumptions and equation related to this. From both these portions, they got asked problems also. Okay. So the theory of relevance is actually about the relevance of decision. That means when you are taking a dividend decision, it will affect the value of the firm. And there are lots of people that they just supported this theory of relevance. It include Mirren Gordon, John Linder, James Walter and Richardson. All these people are with the theory of relevance. That means the dividend decision is very relevant for the firm. Okay, so and we have the classification like Walters and Gordon. So just keep in mind that both these are relevant approach. That means when you're taking a decision regards to dividend, it is going to affect the value of the firm. Okay, so firstly, in this video, we are actually specifying on this Walters approach, and now you will get an idea that how you should study about Gordon's approach also. Okay, so let's go with this Walters approach. So Walter's approach says that dividend decisions are relevant and affect the value of the firm. That's why it is known as the theory of relevance, right? So in case of this Walter's approach, we are taking relationship between two items. Mainly two items is actually considered in case of this Walter's approach. One is about a required rate of return. I mean the investment or the return that you're actually getting from your investment, and the other one is about its cost of capital. So return and cost of capital. These are the two elements that we are actually considering for taking decision regarding to dividend. Okay, so the relationship between internal rate of return earned by the company and its cost of capital is very significant in determining the dividend policy to subserve the ultimate goal of maximizing the wealth of the shareholders. Okay, so in simple way you can say that it is showing the relationship between return on investment, which is represented as R, and cost of capital or the required rate of return, which is represented as cost. So we are just making a comparison between the return and the cost. Okay, and based on that we will take decision related to dividend. Okay, so before going to the theory in detail, you should know about the assumptions related to this particular theory. So mainly we have 4 assumptions. So very important, you should be very thorough with the given assumptions. The first assumption related to Walter's approach is that the firm is not going to depend on any other source. It is just depending, or it is just sourcing its finance only through retained earnings. Okay, it is not going to depend any external source for its fund or for rising fund. They are not going to depend any external forces. It is just depending upon the retained earnings. That is the first assumption. Second assumption is that R and K, that is return and cost of capital of the firm, are constant. Again, another thing is that earnings and dividend per share, or earning per share and dividend per share, or earnings and dividend do not change while determining value. So that is also not going to make any change. Okay, that is also considered as constant. And finally, firm has a very long life. So we are saying that it has such an infinite life. Okay, so these are the important assumptions related to Walter's approach. So you should be very thorough with this assumption. Okay, so the firm is rising its fund only through retained earnings. That means it is not going to depend on any other sources, and R and K are constant, earnings and dividend are constant. Then when you are considering about firm's life, it has such an infinite life. are going to the theory explanation of Volta's approach. As we already said that here we are studying relationship between R and K. That means return and cost. Based on this, we are taking decision. So based on that, you can actually consider there are three situations there. The first situation is if R is greater than K, then R is less than K, R is equal to K. These are the three important situations in case of this. Okay, so the first one, if R is greater than K, if firms earn a higher return, see, what's the situation? R is greater than K means you are getting more return. Okay, when you're considering it with your cost, you are getting more return. Okay, in such a situation, we can consider such company as a growing firm. Okay, so such company is considered as growing firm, and here what will be our decision? Here we can, so as we know that this company is growing, as when you invest more in that business, you will get more profit, or you are going to increase the wealth of the shareholders. So when you find that your company is earning more than expected, or when the company is earning more than your cost, it is considered as a growing firm, and the decision should be you should retain your entire earnings. Okay, you should retain your entire profit, because with that you can do again best investments in your business. Okay, that's a situation. So in such a situation, the firm should retain earnings. So what about the situation of dividends? That is the thing we need to discuss here. So when the firm is going to retain as profit, they are not able to pay dividend, right? So in such a situation, if R is greater than K, the firm is considered as a growing firm. So the better decision is that your optimum payout ratio would be 0%. That means it is better to retain your complete profit in the business, as it is going to give you further benefits. Okay, so that's the situation. Such firms are termed as growth firms, and the optimum payout would be 0. This would maximize the value of shares. So the first situation, if R is greater than K, optimum payout ratio is 0%, because you are retaining your entire profit in the business as your business is growing. That means when you invest more in this business, you will get again more return. That means that is going to maximize the value of your firm, or maximize the value of the shares. Okay, so that is the first situation. And in an opposite way, that means if R is less than K, what is the situation? As you can see that if R is greater than K, it is considered as a growing firm. Like a way, if R is less than K, we can consider such firms as declining firms. Okay, declining firms. So what will be the situation? So here the firm is declining. So there is no need for further investment in this business, because that is not going to give you any further return. So it is better to give that amount as dividend to shareholders. So you should not retain anything. You should give the complete amount to the shareholders as dividend. That will increase your wealth. Okay, that is going to improve your value of the firm. Okay, so the optimum payout would be 100%. So in this situation, if R is less than K, the optimum payout should be 100%. You should pay full amount of your profit as dividend. So the firm should distribute the entire earnings as dividend. That means it is not going to retain anything in your business. Okay, and now we are moving to the third situation, that is R is equal to K. So this particular situation is actually considered as, which is just similar to the theory of irrelevance, because if a firm is in this situation, that is its return and its cost are equal, in such a situation the dividend policy has no much relevance. That means whether if you are going to retain or if you are going to give that particular amount as dividend, that is not going to make any effect in that particular firm. Okay, so if it is in a situation of R is equal to K, that means its return and cost is equal, the dividend policy or the dividend decision is not relevant. Okay, but in all other cases, in the first and second cases, it is very, very important, or it is very, very relevant, but in this case, it is not going to make any changes. Let's see, in case of normal firms, so this is considered as normal firms, the dividend policy will not affect the market value of the shares, as the shareholders will get the same return from the firm as expected by them. So what they expected, they got the same. That's the situation. So here there is no such an optimum payout ratio is there, but you can see that it is there for the first and second situation, but there is no need to find any optimum payout ratio in this situation when R is equal to K, as it is a normal firm. There is not going to make any changes by your decision. That's a situation. So in a simple way, you can say like that, if R is greater than K, that's our first situation, So here you know that this is a growth firm. So your decision that your payout should be 0% because you should retain your entire profit in the business, as that will help you to earn more in future. Then if R is less than K, what about your optimum payout ratio? We should pay 100% as a dividend. So the optimum payout ratio is 100%. And moving to the last situation, if R is equal to K, it is a normal firm. In that situation, there is no optimum payout policy, as it is not going to affect the firm in any way. Okay, these are the three major situations that we are discussing in Walter's approach. So when you're just moving to Gordon's approach, you can also see these similar situations there with some slight differences. So when you're just thorough with Walter's approach, it is very easy to learn Gordon's approach also. Okay, so now I think you got an idea that how you should study this Walter approach and Gordon approach and all. So just study the theory which is connected with this assumptions and also. Okay, so we'll discuss about the problems in some other video and just see the previous year question from this particular topic. So this is a question for December 2020, June 2021 merge cycle. As per Walter's model, the market value of a growing firm will increase if the dividend payout ratio is. So let's see the question. So this is a question from Walter's model, and the question is that the market value of a growing firm. Okay, so this is a situation of the first situation, that is if R is greater than K. That is the growing firm, right? So in order to increase the market value of the growing firm, if the dividend payout ratio, so what is the change that you should give to the dividend payout ratio? As we know that in this case, the first situation, if R is greater than K, your optimum payout ratio should be 0%. That means you should you should decrease it as much as possible. Okay, so when you decrease, when your dividend payout is decreased, what is happening? Your value will be improved. That way we are making a 0% dividend payout ratio, right? So if you're making 100%, what will be the situation that is not going to improve your situation? Optimum payout ratio is 100% in a, or such a decision you can take in case of R is less than K. That means it's in case of a declining firm. Then constant, if you're maintaining its constant, that is not going to improve your firm. Then if the value is decreased, yes, if the payout ratio got decreased, that means you are just giving 0%, or from earlier they are just giving 70%, that got reduced to 20% or 10%. What is happening? Your value is increasing. That's why it is assumed that you should make optimum payout ratio 0%. That means when you are decreasing your payout ratio, what is happening? The value will be increased. But if it is in a case of a declining firm, in order to increase the market value of the firm, what should be done? You should increase your payout ratio. You should increase. Okay, like a way that we are just saying that it is optimum ratio is 100%. So when you are increasing your payout ratio in declining firm, what will happen? The firm's value will be increased. In vice versa, if the firm is growing firm, what is the decision? Your optimum payout should be decreased. Then your value will be increased. So the correct answer for this question is option C. Okay, so in this video we discussed about Walter's approach, which is a very important dividend theory, and when you're just going through this theory, you should be very thorough. As I already mentioned that you should be very thorough with the assumptions given in it, and you should be study about these three situations also, and which is quite similar in case of Gordon's approach also, and with some slight differences. So just go through Walter's approach very well in such a way that it will be easy for you to study Gordon's approach also. So I hope this video will help you for your preparation. Thank you and happy learning.